this is the data. What I just said that, okay, this is the data, and we need to convert it in such a way, we need to convert it in such a table format so that we can analyze it. For analyzing it, we need to convert it into a pivot table. Okay, so for that, what we need to do, we go to the insert tab and we do have an option. First one is pivot table. And after that, we'll be learning the same thing with charts. Okay, so pivot charts also. So when you select pivot charts, you have an option, only pivot chart and pivot table both, what you want to insert. And like basically for the pivot table, you have an only option of inserting the pivot table. So you can just select pivot table by selecting the complete data. Now it will be asking that, okay, you want to insert it into a new worksheet or into existing. Obviously, I'll be inserting it into a new worksheet. Why? Because pivot table is a bit complex thing. You will get a number of options to make changes, to change the formatting, to change the presentations. So because that is why I need to add into a new worksheet. Okay, I came it. Now what happens basically, this is the pivot table sheet. And that the first thing you need to get is this headers. Why this headers? Because this headers is going to help us, like on the basis of this header only we are going to insert pivot table that will help you to analyze it. For example, let's say this is the data, and in this data I want customer segment wise total net amount. Okay, I want what? Customer segment wise total net amount. What is the sales I have made in different customers. So for this, if I need to do it here itself, what I need to do? First, I need to take a filter. Then first I need to select the consumer. Then I'll be adding up all this net amount. Correct. So I'll add up this net amount. Then I'll figure out, okay, it is 27 million or even more than that, 271 million 34 yeah, 71 million 34 3,46,550. Okay, so this is this kind of thing. But what if I don't want to do it one by one? So that's why I put it come to here. What I need customer segment, and the second part I need is net amount. Here I can easily analyze it now, that the total data having this much of customer segment, and all, each customer segment have this net amount. Correct. So basically this, the motive of inserting the pivot table is to make the data in such a way so that we can analyze it. Okay, rather than not only reading it, we can analyze it. So let's say adding one more thing to it. Now customer segment, now what I need state-wise customer segment. So now if I need state-wise customer segment, then I need to insert what? State and provinces. So I'll select state and provinces. So now it is showing that, okay, in consumers, there are this much of state and each and every state have this much of net amount. Now what I need the state names here in the row, and I need this the customer segment in the column. Okay. So what I'll do here, you can see that there are 4 fields available. First one is filter, second one is column, third one is row, and fourth one is values. So basically what happens whenever you select any header that is having numerical value, that by default comes under the value. Okay. Now whenever you select any header that is having alphabetical, that comes under row. But if I need to change this particular row, because here you can see that in one row you have your customer segment, and after that within that customer segment you have your states, right? Now what I need to do, I need to change this customer segment into different columns. That is why what I do, I just press right click here and I'll move this into custom columns. Okay. Now what I am getting, now in every state, as per the customer segment, whatever the amount is, I'm getting the amount, right? Like in Andhra Pradesh, how many sales have been done to home offices? So that is 11,51,500. Let's say in Odisha. So in Odisha, how much sales have been done in a small business? That is 91,65,100. So this is the figure I am getting after what? After changing the format. So now what you need to decide that within this particular 4 segments, you need to move your header to present this data. Let's say I don't want customer segment into columns, so I'll move it into state and provinces, sorry, rows, and I'll move state and provinces to columns. So now you can see this customer segment in a state wise here. What happened? Nothing basically changed. The data won't change, because even though if you go to the small businesses, if I remember, small businesses, and here in a small businesses you want to go Odisha, so it is still 91,65,100, right? So what does it present? That the numbers are not changing, because obviously the data is not changing now. Is it that you have changed the headers or you have changed the columns and rows, so the sales number will differ, right? The sales number is not going to change, but the only thing that is going to change will be your format of the table. Okay, so understand it clearly that these particular four segments are used to change the format of the table. Now with especially these two, which header you need to keep it in column and which header you need to keep it in row. Okay, this is the thing. Now coming to the one more idea. Let's say I need it to be monthly, so let's change it in a much better way so that we can see it completely. So now we can see it. Now you'll include order date. So what you did, you included order date. So here in the order date, you can see that in the row level, you have automatically for the date, the month has been included. Now, when you remove the month, here you are getting dates, right? So let's say we need to create a grouping. Like we need to create a group. Why we need to create a group? Because we need to check the monthly sales, not on the state basis. Now we don't need the state. We only need the order date. So we will be removing this. So for removing this, what you need to do, you just need to click on the drop down and you just need to select remove field. Understood? That is the first thing. The second thing is, like, let's say if you have selected, so now it is all showing you that on 1st Jan, on 2nd Jan, and in on other dates, what are the total sales that have been done in different customer segments, correct? And now what I need to do, I need to make a group, not a group on a monthly basis, because for that I can just select the months and this month will be presented here, right? But now I need to group it into my way. So I came to this pivot table analysis. Here there is an option of group section. So I just put it this particular selection on that date, and then we'll select it what group selection. So these groups, how you need to group this selection. So what I did, this is the starting date and this is the end date. So rather than month and days, what I did, I just grouped it as a quarter. Okay, so the quarter is basically what, 3 months now. Quarter contains 3 months, so that will be starting from 1st of January. So obviously from 1st of January it will be January, February, March, and then after that the second quarter would be April, May, June, correct? So this is the way how your date will get grouped. Once I press OK, now you can see that in the quarter one, this is the complete sales, and in the quarter two, this is complete sales. Now coming to values. Now in value, I told you if there is any by default numerical data, it directly comes to the value section. But even though if there is nothing related to this amount, so what you can do, you can, let's say, you can just count the products, count to the value. So it will be counting that how much product subcategory has been sold. So it will be counting it, and on the basis of that count, it will be providing it. Okay, because as you can't add, because this product subcategory is alphabetical, right? So can you add pen and art supplies with chair and chairman? Can you add A and B? Like you can't add alphabetical data. That is why it is counting the alphabetical data. If it would be numerical data, so it must be keeping it in sum. Now, how to decide that either you want to count it or you want to sum off? So for that purpose, we'll just click the drop down button and go to value field setting. So value field setting, here you can select the sum, count, uh, average, maximum, minimum, product, whatever it is. So there are some deviations, standard deviation is there. Okay, so counting numbers are there also. So these are the mathematical functions you need to use. So from here you can change these options. Now I removed it from this field. What I need to do, I need to check the net amount only. Okay, so till now what we have understood, we have understood the usage of column, we have understood the usage of rows, and we have understood the usage of values. Now also we have gone through what we have come to know, that how to remove it, how to change the value field setting. Clear? This filter part, why this filter part is there. So now here you can select your filter part. Let's say I need all these details, but here is one order priority as well. So how much of this data pertains to critical? So what I'll do, I'll just go to the order priority, I'll click a right click, add to report filter option is there now. Either what I can do, I can just select it and I can drag it into filters, or else what I can do, or else I'll just go to the order priority or right click and add to report filter. So here coming to the filter, you will get what? You will get an option of filter here that order priority is there. From here you can create the filters. So I have just created a filter. You already know how to use a filter, correct? We have already learned it while converting into a normal table. So this is the way we can use the order priority. We can use the filter. Like right now it is showing the sum of all sales only if it pertains to criticals. Like order priority should be critical. If I need to select that how much sales have been done in the higher order priority, so I'll press OK, and this is the number we will be getting. Okay, the sum of net small business in quarter 1, how much net sales you have done in the category of small business in quarter 1 of having high order priority. And you can figure it out. You can just recheck it on the basis of what? Just implement the filters. Like here we have implemented a filter as high. The customer segment is small business. So the customer segment would be small business. And the order date we have already implemented the first quarter, taking a sum up. So it is exactly 19958,200. 19958,200. Exactly matching. So this is the way the pivot table works. Basically, it helps you in making the data in such a way so that you can analyze it. This is the use of pivot table. Whenever you implement pivot table, you get two different tabs. The first one is pivot table analyze tab, and the second one is design. So if you come to the design tab, so basically design you can design the table. That is the first thing. Whatever you need in a pivot table style option, so you can select it from here. The subtotals, you want the subtotals or not? So let's say subtotals you have, if you will be implementing, so it will be showing subtotals like this. Like let's say if you need the customer segments here, so here you can see the subtotals. Like first you have shown the consumers, then in quarter 1, quarter 2, and this is the consumer total. So this is a subtotal. If you don't want this subtotal, so what you do not show subtotal. Now they are not showing the subtotals, right? And now grand totals, you want to show the grand totals or not. So depending upon that, how the pivot table should look like, this is the way. Now I must have the assignments. Let me check it. Pivot table assignments. This is a pivot table analysis tab. So from this, you can just change the options. Like you can change the basic data that you need to generate this pivot table or not. Okay, here you will be showing, it will be showing the active field, on which field you have just kept the particular cell. So this field name it will be showing. Field setting, you can do it that with this field setting. What you can do, basically this is the same thing. From here you get, okay, value field setting. This is the same thing. Here also you are going to get everything that is already present here, that you have already done. Now coming to this one, group. So you can, this function will only be highlighted when you will be on some kind of data that can be grouped or ungrouped. Okay, like here you came here and then you can group the selection on the basis of not on the quarters, you can on the basis of months. You have selected it, so you have got the month and the data accordingly. Okay, now coming to this, you can ungroup it or you can group the fields depending upon your criteria. Now insert slicer. So in what is insert slicer? Slicer is just like a filter you implement. Like rather than order priority here, applying the filter here, you can just select the order priority here. You will get a table. So you just got a table and you can see that only high is selected. Why? Because here in the filter you have implemented high. Now I need the criticals. So I need the criticals only. So depending upon that, if I need to select multiple, so I can select with control. If I need to select anyone, I can just control select on them. And if I need to remove the filter, I can just remove the filter so that the complete data will be here. Understood? Whenever you insert slicer, you also get a slicer tab. In this slicer tab, you can just change the name. Okay, this order priority is here now. So you can see that rather than putting it order priority, you can see that the priority list. Okay, so here you just change the name from order priority to priority list. Now report connections. The report connections is basically when you have inserted multiple pivot tables. Okay, multiple pivot tables you have inserted, and you need to create connections so that whenever you implement this slicer, so it will get affected on all other datas as well.